nose tackle and guard, did you make any attempt in recent days, or are there any ongoing attempts to add a quality starter at either spot, be it trade market, be it waiver wire, and if not, what gives you confidence in both of those positions?
Yeah, so it's always interesting because Mike and I were talking about this the other day that with the offensive line, how every year that's you guys are like, oh, we're not good enough, not good enough, but then offensively we're pretty good offense the last 2 years, and a number of you guys have talked about how the guys have improved. Those guys on the offensive line have worked their tails off. We feel confident in them. The coaching staff believes in them, and Butch and Mike and Frank have done a great job, and Lem in helping those guys develop and work. And so I think the important thing is they all work together. It's a really cohesive unit, and just watching them work together is great every day. They hang out together, so it's a very close-knit unit. That said, yeah, we'll add someone to the practice squad like we always do. And just for your information, we released Jack Driscoll recently because we claimed Grant Dubose, wide receiver, and so that was the roster move for him. Jack's a good kid, worked his tail off. It's just unfortunately a numbers crunch for us. But we're confident in the offensive line. So again, it's just one of those. It's Mike and I we always kind of chuckle. I know you guys made a joke about me saying that you guys are more worried about it than we are. But internally, that's how we feel about our group here as a team. On the defensive side, we've added a guy in the practice squad that we feel really good about. We think he's got a lot of potential and upside, but we feel good about our group again. We think Peely's done a nice job improving every day. Hand has been really good for us. We've been very happy with him from last year coming in and continue working. And then obviously, with Zach and Calais has been an outstanding addition for us. We've been really, really happy with him. So we feel good about the group. But, obviously we're always looking for depth. So we tell you this is just a snapshot in time for us. And you guys have known, since you guys have known me and been around me, we've always worked to keep working the roster and making additions. We're not afraid to add something at some point if the opportunity arises.
What are traits that interest you guys in Grant DuBose?
Yeah, so he's got size. He's tough. Really good route runner. He's got good hands, and it was the physical, how physical he is in his play. Obviously, Mike knows a lot of people up there in Green Bay with the relationship as well as I do, and they're all very high on him. And said it was a very hard decision for them to move on from him. So it was an opportunity that we were excited for, just working for where we are right now.
As you reflect on your journey from an intern to a GM, what has been some of the most challenging aspects of that transition, and how has your perspective at all changed on team building?
Yeah, obviously when I started, just dating myself, it was mid-90s, going with Coach Parcells, and different time, different era of how he did it. It was at that time, a lot of manual work in terms of, like nowadays, you can go on PFF, click on a guy, and watch him in 15 minutes and know him. Where back then, you had to go pull the tape out, find out, fast forward all the way through and go through and search. And so it's been the evolution to where it's got to is cool. And I think even for player safety to where it's gotten to now for the players. But it's a different era. Back then, coaches were, I'd say a lot sterner and the rules and how the players were. And we had 3-a-days when I was back in New England with Parcells. You'd go 7 a.m., then we'd have a 3 o'clock, and then we'd have another one walkthrough at 7 o'clock at night. And then we had staff meetings at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So we were always going from 7 in the morning until midnight, 1 o'clock. So, it's like anything. Change is good, but it's been a fun road. I've enjoyed it, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Chris, are you planning on having Isaiah Wynn play for you guys at some point this year?
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, he's worked his tail off. He's done a great job of rehabbing. He's here every day working, and but yeah, that's the plan. But we'll see.
There's a report that when Odell Beckham Jr. signed, that you guys knew or suspected he might not be able to start the year because of the procedure. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you say what the injury is?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, but I don't like to talk about people's medical history publicly.
Are you ready? I mean, when you signed him, where did you expect him to be ready?
Yeah, we were very hopeful that it would be around week 1 here. And to be honest with you guys, we put him down. He did not want to go down. He feels, and he is very close. You guys have seen him, glimpses of him running around outside doing stuff. He's very close, but for us, it was the long play. We didn't want him to rush back, feeling that he had to rush back, and then something happened and it sets us back. So this was more Mike and I sitting down, talking with Kyle, the trainers, and we just felt what's best for him long haul to help us here win games is to put him down for a little bit right now.
Chris, the Dolphins owner Stephen Rose said on the local broadcast during preseason that if healthy, he'd use this as a Super Bowl contender. How does this roster align with Super Bowl contention?
Yeah, each year we're always judged by wins and losses at the end of the day. So, last year people were saying our roster was one of the best in football, and we had injuries and fell short in Kansas City and ended wild card. I think each year is a different year. I think we feel very good about our roster where we are. And again, this is just a moment in time. Like, as you guys remember in March, everyone was worried about salary cap. We can't do anything. And so it's always little pockets of time when you do your roster and stuff. But we feel good about it. Like everyone, health is and luck all contribute to it, and team chemistry. And it's a very close-knit team already. It's been exciting to watch these guys all together. So, we feel if we're healthy and ready to go that we have a chance to compete, which is what we always want, that chance.
How do you define a successful season for this year? Does it require you to end the 24-year drought?
Yeah, I don't think we shy away from it. Mike's talked about it. Yeah, for us, it's always, again, every team wants to win the Super Bowl, and we're no different. And at the end of the day, one team wins, and to me, if you don't win it, every team, it's not a successful season. So that's the way I've always looked at it.
We haven't spoken since the Tua contract. How relieved were you to get that done? And take us through your perspective of those negotiations.
I think my wife was glad it was done, just because all the phone calls and back and forth. But Tua and his representation were great. Ryan Williams. These things take time. Look at all the deals trying to get done around the league that are happening slowly. But for us, it was just working through to find a place where both sides felt really good, and to that, it doesn't affect us where we can't keep building and adding players and doing what we need to do in the future. So we're very excited to get it done. It was a long process, but well worth it, and we're excited for Tua.
As you mentioned Calais earlier, he's a happy guy. He's always motivated. Do you get a sense that the latter stages of his career, not only does he have a lot left, but he wants to prove it here in his hometown?
Yes, most definitely. He's the guys love him, and as you know him, he's always around. So everyone walks around and go, So he's a really good dude. Just watching how he prepares and keeps himself in shape, for his age and what he does. So all the guys are taking note. He's a mentor to people. But even watching him like in the joint practices, like I think you guys saw some of the stuff. He can still play, and it's amazing what he does, and just how physical and strong and tough he is. And so adding him to us, I think will pay big dividends. And I think he is a great measure for all our players to learn for being able to sustain a high level of play for a long time and taking care of your body and being a true pro.
Have you had any conversations with Mulligetta about Javon's contract? And if so, or if not, either way, is it priority by the end of the year to get something done with him?
Yeah, like everything, unless a player's representation tells me to speak publicly, okay, I will. So I'll keep any conversations we've had private, but like with Javon and any other player, there's always a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we're working through, and he's an important player for us, and so we'll just leave it at that for right now.
At the moment, two of the top backup running backs are undrafted rookies. Actually, I don't know if Bonner counts as a rookie still. I have to check. Is Bonner a rookie? Anyway, undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Bonner from Stanford,
Yeah.
and Storm Duck from Louisville.
Right.
How ready do you feel these guys are to contribute if needed?
Yeah, no, very confident. Ethan played a little bit for us last year. And the thing we love about him is he's a smart player, he's very competitive, and we've had a number of teams tried to trade for him in the offseason, even last year. And so very excited for his opportunity, and he's taken advantage of it every time he's had. Storm has come in and just worked right from the beginning. And so he's been a pleasant surprise. We thought he had a lot of ability, but you never know until you get here. And he's worked his tail off, and he's earned it. And so I'm very excited for him and his future, and because he's got a great work ethic. So I think the one thing that Arujo and has done a great job developing and working with those guys, and they have a great belief in him and the system from Coach Weaver. So if they have to play, no one will bat an eye, and we'll just back to work.
What about the other undrafted rookies?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you, he looks like a truck driver, you know. So you're like sitting there first time, and I'm like, yeah, you know. But I tell you what, he's got personality. He's tough. He's smart. He loves ball. He's a grinder. And every day he just got better and better. And it got to a point where it's hard that you can see in talking with the coaches and Butch and Mike that we see that there's a lot of potential in his future. So he's, you know, still has a lot of work to do to improve, but this was a player we just felt like we didn't want to lose because he's got something that we'd like to see what it looks like at the end.
Chris, as you self-scouted yourselves this offseason, what did you do and what were the ideas to improve against the playoff? You were 1-6 against playoff teams. Would you say we got to do this and here's where we've improved and how do we get better at that against those teams?
Yeah. No, it's always something when you go through and try and figure out the whys after the season when you do it. And for us, working through, you know, some of the stuff offensively, like there were some of those games, you know, like just top of my head, Philly, where we had a drop touchdown pass at one point, you know, a borderline, you know, pass interference call on one. So we were like that one, and then the Kansas City and Germany, you know, we had a couple miscues at the end where we didn't, you know, function the way we should. And so at the end of the day, looking through it, it's just looking through situations, really spending time on, you know, talking to our players, going through situations, football basically, and what it is. And that's just my opinion. But also, I think we have the players to win, and I'm very confident in them. So for us, it's just finding that way to get over the hump, like you said. And it's we feel confident in what we're doing, and Mike and the staff have done a great job, and the scouts and working through it. So I'm very excited to see what happens this year.
Is there a feeling that injuries have been the biggest obstacle the previous 2 years, as opposed to, you know, not being good against the better teams, or game plan, strategy, philosophy? Is it mostly injuries, do you think?
No, I mean, injuries happen. I don't want to use that as just the excuse. That's that would maybe trying to take the easy way out to just use that. Again, there's, you know, 11 players on the field at a time, and it could be one person messing up that caused it, and the other 10, you know, doing their assignment right. So it's just, again, find a way to executing in those moments with everyone on the field the same time. And so Mike and the staff have been working very hard on that, and that's been a focus of us of just because if we play well consistently and not just halves and stuff, that we feel we can compete with any team in the league.
You had 6 draft picks make the 53, and maybe a 7th if Taj hadn't gotten hurt. How would you evaluate that group so far? And Chop in particular seems like he might need to play a role. How much confidence you have in him early on?
Yeah, no, the group has done a great job coming in. It's a very mature group. They're all very, as you guys have talked to some of them, they're all very focused on ball and really love football. So we're very happy with all of them. From Chop has come in from day one and just has been a sponge, and it's cool. He talks to Armstead about different rushes against different people, and then Chubb spends time with them, and it's just cool. And they're all just like, the kid wants to learn and his work ethic. And so, you know, he's got the talent and everything. He's a tough kid. He loves ball. And so watching all those guys from, you know, Patrick Paul's done a great job for us. He's played a ton of snaps in the preseason, learning a whole new technique of how to block. So very happy with him. You know, Wright's done a good job running the ball for us, and Mohammed and McMorris, all those guys. So we're very happy with the group because at the end of the day, they all love football and it's important to them. They have talent, so we'll see how it plays out, but very excited for them.
Chris, you mentioned the feedback from the Packers with DeBose. Is that a common practice in waiver wire claims, is getting that feedback from teams that let a guy go?
Yeah, I mean, you're always reaching out to different people you know because you just want to make sure that they don't have to tell you what kind of player you're getting. It's just the person, really, because when you're adding someone into a building, you just want to be careful of who you're adding into it. So, so you always talk to people, and because, I mean, obviously if they let them go, you'll try and find out why here and there. But you watch the film at the end of the day that makes the ultimate decision whether you can put in a claim on someone.
Do you have a practice squad quarterback lined up?
Yes, we do. Tim Boyle.
What did the staff like?
Mike liked him. Mike and Bev spent a lot of time here the last couple of days watching a lot of the quarterbacks, and he caught their eye. Obviously, he was in Houston, a little similar scheme, and obviously with the Jets, we saw him before, and so he's got some background in our offense. But just watching him, Mike felt, and Bev felt really good about adding him here on the practice squad for his skill set and what he can do. So he's a veteran guy that's been around, but has a good reputation as a good locker room guy, smart. So so we're excited to add him.
Any concerns over state secrets that Mike White can reveal to Buffalo?
I said, I used to be that way, but so many players go back and forth between, I'm sure Buffalo's not losing too much sleep about Poyer being here, so it's just one of those, it happens, the ones I always laugh at are week one. Like when week one teams play each other and they start claiming guys from each other's team. I think that's funny. But
I've seen some tweets where agents are telling reporters that they're adding players to the practice squad with a promise to elevate them for week one. Is this a kind of a new thing you're hearing this year, or did this come up last year too?
Yeah, to me, I think it's hard to promise someone to come up, not especially if you've never worked with a person and seen them. So I would never want to put our players that may have earned a spot to play just to trick someone. And I'm saying that team or person's doing it, but that's, it's just not something I would believe in doing. But yeah, you do hear it every once in a while, but that's just not the practice that we believe in.
A question about your interior offensive line theory, philosophy. I think Robert Jones and Lester Cotton are the only true guards that your centers have been converted guards, right, with Connor Williams and Aaron Brewer. Mm-hmm. Your guards are converted tackles, with the exception, Hunt and Liam. What is the thinking there that you'd rather focus on the tackles, or I know that Aaron Brewer is, a quality player and he's out with an injury, but there haven't been any high-profile free agent signings or trades or draft picks the last couple of years. What is the thinking on the interior offensive line?
Yeah, so and Patrick was a guy. So for that, tackles are always of value, but the guys that have the ability, like Robert and Liam, to go inside and play, position flexibility always because for your roster and spots. And so with those guys, you look for guys that are tough and competitive. They have to be smart, obviously, but in this scheme, as you guys have seen, athletes are what, kind of the priority. So you want guys who are athletic, have twitch, and can come off the ball. And so I think the way Butch teaches, and I think what all our players appreciate, and all the players who have been here and left that you guys have talked to, they love the teaching style of how Butch and Lem work with them. Just philosophy-wise, guard, tackles that can play guard as well are always of value, but then centers are very important, like with Meyer. Those guys that, you'd like a guy that's not a one-hole player, but at the end of the day, the ability to communicate, see what's going on, get everyone calmed down, lined up, and the quarterback trust is a huge thing.
Balance Jalen Phillips' desire probably to play full versus keeping him long-term healthy?
Yeah. No, we'll be very smart with Jalen, just because he's even back earlier than some people thought, in just my opinion. So I think with him, it's, yeah, you got to put a governor on him because he wants to go 100 miles an hour. And it's like, dude, you just came back from a serious injury faster because you're a freak healer. But let's be smart about this. And so I just think Kyle and his staff do a great job of getting our guys prepared and healthy. And so we'll take an approach because it is about long term. It's not just about right now.
Obviously, to a young defensive tackle that you're encouraged about on the practice squad, could you share his name? A promising defensive tackle that you
Yeah, Naquan Jones came over from Arizona. He's a big-bodied nose tackle, and as you kind of seen with Weaver's defense, it's a little different type of D tackles now that we're looking for. But very excited coaches, Coach Weaver, Austin Clark, everyone was very excited. Our video guys that had to stay here at night and get the video going for them. We're very excited to do that at 10 o'clock last night.
Thank you guys. Practice has started.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.